Yogaha Karmasu Kaushalam.
Namaskar friends, welcome to Guru Dakshata. I would like to discuss something about this faculty induction program called Guru Dakshata. Friends, you may be aware that Ministry of Human Resource Development have thought about developing one program which should be mandatory for all those who would like to enter to the field of higher education. This faculty induction program, as the word indicates, faculty, that means any assistant professor who is entering to the field of higher education and who has inclined to render his services as a teacher, assistant professor, or as an academician in higher education. Now, UGC has thought that they should have one induction program. Now, induction, all of you understand, that is modulation. That is to train them to the set environment. Exactly, when you look at school education, maybe it is a pre-primary, it is a primary, or whether it is a secondary or higher secondary. That means whether it is KG or whether it is standard 12. There are different segments of school that we are aware of. Anywhere, if any teacher wants to teach, they have to gain some professional training. They have to undergo some professional training. These professional trainings are different kind of trainings. Like there are Montessori trainings, there are PTC, that is primary teacher trainings, there are Bachelor of Education trainings, there are Master of Education trainings. But in short, there are various kind of professional trainings which are imparted to teachers, and their several pedagogical issues are touched, and it is seen that they learn various basics of teaching. That means, see, they have to learn the basics of teaching when they enter to the teaching field. But look at the field of higher education. Exactly what happens? What is the qualification of an assistant professor? If I refer to the UGC guidelines, there are various UGC guidelines on appointment conditions or various rules and regulations regarding appointment and minimum standards of qualifications. These regulations in general say that any person who would like to join higher education, whether it is a college or a university, as an assistant professor, he has to possess some qualification. The qualifications, all of you are aware that they are master degree with certain class. That means if they would like to go for UGC regulated institutes, then they should get at least 55% in master degree. That means that is called B plus. 7-point scale, that it may happen that it should have some grading, then it should have equivalence to 55%. That is the minimum qualification. Apart from this 55%, a person has to pass national eligibility test or state eligibility test, which is conducted by UGC at national level, or which is conducted by state government councils or state agencies at the state levels. So either state level agencies or central level agencies, they conduct this national level eligibility test. This eligibility test, passing it, makes a person eligible to enter in higher education. That means that is the minimum qualification. But apart from that, UGC said that there's those who want to enter the field of universities, they need to have PhD. So either you should have PhD, because if you have completed your PhD, if you have acquired your degree of PhD, if you are awarded the degree of PhD following the UGC regulations of PhD, then you are exempted from national eligibility test. That means you are exempted from NET. Now, anybody who enters to the field of higher education, he either is PhD or SET or NET. These are the minimum qualifications. Now, think of it. A student who studied till 12th, then he has attended his college for 3 years, that is his bachelor degree, then attended master degree, then he has passed SET or NET, or maybe completed his PhD, he is directly appointed either in university or a college, if he passes through the procedure of appointment or a selection. He can be appointed by selection and procedure conducted by Union Public Service Commission or by state public service commissions or by universities or by different agencies. But when he gets appointed, it is not mandatory that he is having professional qualifications. I mean to say professional qualification means he doesn't have a professional teaching qualification like some certificate courses in teaching, some diploma courses in teaching, or some bachelor degree in teaching. That is, they don't have. That is why National Policy on Education in 1987 that suggested various measures, and one of the measures was that they should undergo some training, and that is how academic staff colleges were established. So academic staff colleges were established to equip the academic staff who enters to colleges and universities in their pedagogical skills, in their skills of better teaching. Basically, to professionally equip the teachers to perform in a better way in a classroom teaching. That was the purpose. Now it went on 1987 and today is 2020. Many years have passed. Almost 30 years have passed. Various new policies of education have come. Even we are waiting for National Policy on Education 2020. It may come very soon. But friends, based on discussions, based on surveys, based on researches, based on lot of discussion, brainstorming, and at last the decision was taken that we should, that means UGC should introduce faculty induction program. And that should be mandatory, that should be compulsory for all the teachers, all the assistant professors who are entering to this field. And that is how this Guru Dakshata program, Guru Dakshata, make this Guru Daksha, make this Guru a teacher, assistant professor, Daksha, that means competent to deliver whatever is expected by this present generation. This is a I generation, this is a G generation, we call them digital natives and whatnot. So to teach this generation, to cope up with the expectations of this generation, we have to be equipped very well. If we are equipped very well, we can deliver in a better way to this generation, and we can meet with the expectations of the world and the students whom we deliver our knowledge and dissemination, and we disseminate our knowledge. We discuss with them, and we want to make them more skillful. We would like to make them better citizens of the country. After all, they are the future of the country. Friends, I know all of you are experts. All of you have either passed NET or SET exam, or you have completed your PhD. You are doctorates. You have a lot of content. You have a lot of knowledge. You have presentation skills, and you have a lot of other things. But at the same time, following the advice of UGC, there are many things which we should learn. There are many things which we should unlearn and learn. Globalization is redefining the role of a nation in terms of global markets, agreements, values, and traditions. The global markets are changing. The global demands are changing. If you go to Canada, the education system is different. If you go to Europe, the demands are different. If you go to Agra, the demands are different. So the agreements, the values, the traditions, and the demands, these all have different expectations from the student and from the teacher. So to meet to these expectations, we would like to equip you, all of us, to meet these requirements. There is a need to analyze these requirements, these global markets, these agreements, values, and traditions in the context of higher education in India, which is steadily expanding with a large network of institutions. If you look at a pre-independence India, if you look at India before 30 years, 40 years, 20 years, and today, the expansion is tremendous. If I talk about the case study of Gujarat, when I was studying before 20-25 years, there were less than 10 universities in Gujarat. If I look at today, there are more than 100 universities in Gujarat. To be precise, I guess we have about 125 universities in Gujarat which are working. Earlier, there were only two types of universities. One was a central university and one was a state university. But nowadays, there are different kinds of universities. We have deemed universities, we have specialized universities, we have private universities, and there are different kinds of universities which we find. So the network of institution has become very large. There are institutes of eminence, there are IITs, there are IIMs, there are a lot of other institutions. As a response to this, to meet this requirement, education need to rethink. So the educators, particularly we, all of us, need to rethink the way teaching and learning ought to happen in the era of knowledge economy. Our former president, Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan, emphasized that teachers should be the best minds in the country. And I tell you, friends, it is admired by many people across the world that if the teachers are better, then their future generation, the students, can perform better, they can nurture better citizens for the country, and they can serve the country in a better way. Preparing a potentially efficient generation of teachers, which can lead the nation to the higher notches commensurate with the global demand of education, is the need of the hour. So we need to prepare such a teacher which can really meet to the demands of the need of the hour and really meet to the global demand of education. Because the teachers whom we are training, the students whom we are training, they are not just citizens of one country now. They have become global citizens. This is the possible only by means of well-planned in-service teacher education system, which is capable of equipping the teacher with the vision and revolution of higher education in India, along with global perspectives. So this is what is discussed in the foreword of this Guru Dakshata document prepared by University Grants Commission. And it quotes the Kothari Commission 1964, and it says that it remarks that the destiny of India is now being shaped in her classrooms. This, we believe, is no more rhetoric. In the world based on science and technology, it is education that determines the level of prosperity, welfare, and security of the people. This is what was suggested by Kothari Commission in 1964. We have quoted it here. And it says that it is still relevant in the context of teacher education when we talk about teacher education even today. The teacher education in India over the years has been starving to make the teachers internalize this mission and steer them towards achieving the goals which are desired by us. But unlike the teachers in school education, a faculty in higher education joins the teaching profession without any formal training in teaching, learning, and assessment. I told you in the beginning, friends, that the school education, the teachers of school, they have gone through, they have attained some professional trainings, but the teachers working in higher education, they do not have any formal training of teaching, learning, and assessment. Understanding the capabilities in these areas, along with awareness of policies, governance, and administration and administrative structure, can help the new teachers, all of us, the assistant professors, the teachers who would like to make a difference entering the higher education, to improve their teaching and management skills, adjust to the culture of higher education institutions, and better understand their professional responsibilities. It is very much important. It is very much necessary that we should understand the responsibilities of a teacher. What is expected from us? Look at the NAAC document. When it talks about various criterions, it talks about what exactly NAAC expect from us. Not only NAAC, look at the eyes of the parents who send their children to us. Look at the eyes of the children who look at us with a lot of respect. They look at us that really we are expecting a lot from you teachers. And I tell you, friends, you all of will agree with me that our word, our sentence, sometimes our gesture can change the life of our students. The teachers are also expected to have a clear understanding of the planning, curriculum, that means planning of the curriculum, and pedagogical strategies. Exactly, our teachers should be aware of, and they should have clear understanding of the planning of curriculum, pedagogical strategies, generating new knowledge for an equitable society. We would like to have equitable society where access and equity should be there to all of us. Maintenance of the academic integrity and integrating sustainability in teaching and personal life is also very important. With these ideas in mind, with these broad goals in mind, Ministry of Human Resource Development and UGC have been jointly working towards developing a broad faculty induction program, that means FIP, this Guru Dakshata content framework for inducting new teachers to the system. Exactly, the idea is to provide induction, to induct new teachers entering to this system of higher education. This faculty induction program will implement through the Human Resource Development Centers as our center, as UGC Human Resource Development Center of Gujarat University, and maybe Pandit Madan Mohan Malaviya National Mission on Teacher Training, which is broadly known as PMMM-NMTT centers across the country. MHRD and UGC strongly believe that this content framework will herald a new era in faculty induction program in India. It will come out with a new area and faculty improvement in India. So these are the broad perspective with which Dr. D.P. Singh, the chairman of University Grants Commission, has written the foreword of this Guru Dakshata document and this Guru Dakshata program. I would like to say that there were quite a few reputed people like Professor Bhushan Patwardhan, Vice Chairman of UGC, Professor Rajneesh Jain, the Secretary of UGC, Dr. N. Shravan Kumar, the Joint Secretary of Ministry of Human Resource Development at the time, Dr. Shakila Shamshu, OSD of MHRD of the time, and Dr. Archana Thakur, who is at present Joint Secretary and who holds the portfolio of UGC Human Resource Development Center. They all have contributed to develop this framework, which will be very much useful to all of us. So this is what is the forward to our Guru Dakshata. I was discussing this forward for your understanding of Guru Dakshata program. We will discuss more about Guru Dakshata program, what are the expectations, what are the duration, and what are other technicalities of this Guru Dakshata program in the next module. Till now, thank you very much, and we will discuss more. We together will try to learn. We together will try to make a difference. Friends, whatever framework is provided by MHRD, whatever framework is provided by UGC, after all, it depends on all of us, how we execute it, how we take it, how seriously we try to learn. I promise you, friends, that our HRDC, here, my team, myself, we will try our best to help you groom yourself. We will try our best to help you develop yourself professionally. And I want a promise from all of you that you will also try to cooperate us and you will try your best to improve yourself. You will try to learn a lot of things. We will try to learn from each other. We will try to learn from you. We will try to learn from all of you, and you should also try to learn from us. Together we can learn, together we can grow, and together we can make difference.